we want the photo of this label. If I open my pants, you're not going to see my underwear, right?
No.
Don't want to show my underwear on YouTube. So, can you see? Hi everyone, it's Justine. Greenwashing is a word that you might have heard or seen being used in the media. It's a strategy through which brands that are neither ethical nor sustainable try to make consumers believe that they are. And unfortunately, quite successfully. And one industry where greenwashing is in full swing is fashion. That's why I wanted to make this video, to show you first what greenwashing is and how it works. Second, which brands are guilty of greenwashing, how to recognize it. And third, what you can do to help prevent it. Number one, what is greenwashing? In recent years, people have become more and more aware that producing clothes can be harmful both to the environment and to the garment workers that are not treated properly in faraway countries. I like to think that this channel contributes a little bit to raising that awareness, because here I share what I know from working in the industry, things that shock me and that I think people out there should know about. So here I share what I know to give you the power to decide which brands and practices you want to support. So awareness is increasing throughout the world. That's great thing. But it's a huge problem for fast fashion brands. Imagine, they sell a top for €5, a pair of pants for 10 or 20. The only possible way they can sell at those prices and still be profitable is if they saved a lot of money by buying very cheap, low quality fabrics and or exploiting the people who cut and sew the clothes. And that includes really everything up to child labor and slave labor. Now let's say you have the choice in a store between two identical garments, same price. One says sustainable on the label with a little flower on the photo, and the other one doesn't say anything about where or how it's made. Chances are high you're gonna go with the one that says sustainable. 99% chances. Fast fashion brands are extremely aware of that, so they want also to be able to claim something sustainable, something that sounds good. However, they can't raise their prices too much because the main reason for buying something fast fashion is the low price. They can't openly lie about their products because that's illegal, thank God. So what they do is try to find loopholes in the law and try to phrase things in a way that tricks you into thinking that they're the good ones so that you will buy from them. Deceiving people into thinking that they're green when they're not, that is the definition of greenwashing. Note that deceiving is illegal too, but it's a lot more subjective. So if you have good lawyers, you can defend yourself in court if need be. You get the idea. Fast fashion brands are greenwashing because they realize how sustainability and ethics are becoming more and more important to the public, and they want to keep selling. So, who's greenwashing? Let's start with the first example, which is H&M's so-called conscious collection. Cereal fields, green background, green dress. The imagery is made to make you think it's green, like nature. The brand invests high budget to shoot beautiful campaigns with famous models. There is an H&M Conscious Foundation that made donations to a trust meant at improving working conditions in Bangladesh, where H&M is a huge client for local factories, if not the biggest. It sounds like H&M has improved a lot, both on the sustainable and on the ethical side. The Conscious campaign from 2019, so the last big one before the pandemic, was claiming, and I'm quoting from H&M's own press release, every piece in the collection is made from a sustainably sourced material, such as 100% organic cotton. That's a very deceiving statement, because first, sustainably sourced, what does that mean? Is that sustainability grown? You have to define it if you use that word. Second, it seems that every garment consists exclusively of sustainable material, for instance, organic cotton, when what I think they mean, tricky, is if there is a share of cotton in that garment, then that could be 100% organic cotton, but it doesn't mean 100% of the garment. So I went to the website and there is what they're saying about the Conscious collection. At least 50% of each piece is made from more sustainable materials like organic cotton or recycled polyester. 50% is much less than the 100% implied in the press release. And now I'm clicking on one product to make it even clearer. This conscious ripped dress, for instance, is made of 4 different fibers, none of which is 50% of the total. Which one of these 4 is the more sustainable material? Like, we are missing information here. Another thing they say nothing about is how much of the entire H&M production is that conscious collection. Because I would guess that it's only a small part. What about all the other garments that H&M produces? Then what about the way the garment workers making H&M clothes are treated? We know that H&M is one of the major, if not the biggest, client for factories in Bangladesh. We know that when the Rana Plaza factory collapsed in Bangladesh in 2013, H&M was among the big brands to join the Bangladesh Accord, which objective it is to make working conditions safer and better for workers in Bangladesh. H&M at that time also committed to paying a fair living wage to the garment workers by 2018. And they missed that target by far. The thing is, in Bangladesh, the minimum wage officially is extremely low. You can't pay rent, you can't feed your family with that. The living wage would be about 4 times that, but the country's economy is so highly dependent on producing and exporting clothes to external other countries that the government does not want to take the risk of increasing the minimum wage because they want to remain competitive. So currently, Bangladeshi workers getting a living wage depends on the goodwill of the brands. H&M is focusing on sustainability in fabric because it looks good for marketing, while they are neglecting the people who make the clothes. Second example, Primark. They launched a range of denim pieces, I quote, made with 100% sustainable cotton. And a pair of these jeans costs about 15 euros. I remember seeing an ad on a bus stop in Berlin when the range came out. I stood there wondering whether anyone would actually believe that Primark is making something sustainable for that price tag. And then 2 teenagers walked past me and they saw the ad too. And one said to the other, "Oh, look, even Primark is sustainable now. Cool, we should go tomorrow." I cried inside. Have you noticed the trick? The way they phrased it. They say 100% sustainable, not 100% organic. And there is no actual definition for the word sustainable. So unless you explain what you mean with that and what you're exactly doing in that sense, it's pretty deceiving and way too vague. So I've done some research because that wouldn't leave me alone. What it's really about is the following. Primark started an initiative with farmers in India and Pakistan, which are 2 big cloth production countries, but also cotton producing countries. And they train the farmers to use techniques that are also used by organic cotton producers in organic fields. But Primark farmers are absolutely still using chemical pesticides that are completely prohibited in organic crops because they are harmful to the environment and to humans. So Primark is using the word sustainable in a very broad sense in that campaign. And a representative of Primark publicly said that they could not reach the yield goals that they have in terms of cotton production if they stop using those chemical pesticides. So basically she's saying they cannot keep the price level and the production level if the cotton is organic. And then, like for H&M, I would love to know how much of the entire Primark production is actually composed of that sustainable cotton collection. Real quick, let me give you a few more examples of how words can be misused in communication. 100% vegan leather. So there is no official definition for vegan leather. Made of what? If it's made of pineapple leather or mushroom leather or something like that, great. But usually, when it's not explained, it's because it's made of PVC that releases microplastic into the water when you wash it. Another one. Since 2013, we reduced our CO2 emissions by 50%, and we plan on reducing them by another X% by 2025. Very easy If you have reduced your production by half, you already have reduced your emissions by half. Or if by 2025 you plan on closing your own factories and outsourcing production to factories outside of your company that don't count towards your own CO2 emissions, that's how you get the goal as well. So without proper explanation and facts to back it up, this kind of statement is highly deceiving, I think. Next one. We've reduced our carbon footprint by 15% within the last 2 years. They forgot to mention by unit produced. But in total, they actually produced 30% more garments. So emissions have increased in total. You get the drill. Brands are very creative in terms of wording, or they simply omit to mention the things that they don't want to know about. So it's your responsibility to question what they're saying and to see if it's really backed up with numbers. In the case of made in, they understand that we want to know where our clothes are made, so they make sure that at least the end of the production process, only that part, is done in a country that sounds good and that is not connoted by issues with labor, with slave labor, or with bad working conditions. So they can say made in that country, that sounds good, but then there is no law to force them to disclose where the fabric is made. The battle for transparency is a long one. What can you do to prevent greenwashing? Glad you asked. Read the information on the brand's website. If they're saying nothing about sustainability and ethics, that's obviously not a good sign. But if they are, what are they telling you? What are they not telling you? Try to think in terms of what they're not disclosing. If you're on the product page and you see the fiber composition, are they saying where the fabric is from? Are they disclosing where the garment was made? If not, write them an email and ask, like, where is this from? Where is the fabric made? A brand that has nothing to hide will have no problem answering the questions. And as a consumer, you have all rights to know where you're buying. Learn to spot the keywords that are too vague and or that have no legal definition. Pure, green, sustainable, eco-friendly, conscious. There is no legal definition for that, so unless you explain what it means, it's not enough. On the other hand, a word like organic can be checked, so to speak, because there are quality stamps on fabrics like GOTS, Global Organic Textile Standard, which is used a lot for cotton, exactly like what Primark used, but in better. And there is a very clear list of criteria that you need to fulfill in order for your fabric to be able to call itself GOTS certified. Ask those big brands that you shop from, who made my clothes? It's a hashtag that you can use in social media. You take a picture of yourself wearing a garment inside out or upside down, showing the labels, tag the brand, and use the hashtag. This is to make brands understand that we consumers have the power and that we want more transparency. And this helps change behaviors in the industry. This year, a new hashtag was added to the campaign and it's called Who Made My Fabric? To show brands that we don't just care for where the garment is made, we also want to know where the fabric was made. We want transparency about the entire production process, and that makes sense. If you're wondering where all these hashtags come from, Fashion Revolution is an initiative created after the sadly famous collapse of the Rana Plaza garment factory in Bangladesh in 2013, to make sure that the world doesn't forget, that we keep the brands accountable, and that something like that does not happen again. The factory, Rana Plaza, collapsed because of incredibly bad working conditions and safety conditions. Like the building collapsed on the workers during a workday. It killed over 1,000 people. The whole world was outraged, and all those fast fashion brands committed to improving. They said, yes, 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 never again, yes, you're right, yes, garment workers need to be paid fairly, blah, blah, blah. And now we're 8 years later, exactly 8 years later, it was in April 2013, and we still see these brands trying to cheat their way towards a better image. If you want to know more about Fashion Revolution Week, because there's a week once a year and it's this week, I will link here and down below to a video where I explain what they do, because it's a voluntary organization everywhere in the world. all the resources that they put at your disposal for free and how you can get involved, because everyone who sees this is welcome to join. There are campaigns and actions by Fashion Revolution taking place throughout the year, but this week is more important in terms of visibility in the media, hence this video. In the video description down below, you will also find previous videos from me. One where I explain in the price of a 20 euros t-shirt, how much does the garment worker get, how much does the wholesaler get, the brand, the retailer, etc. I find that very eye-opening to understand how such low prices can exist at all. And another video that explains a lot more detailed what is fast fashion, what's that business model, and what are the implications of it. Thumbs up if you find this video helpful. Thank you very much. And following your highly positive feedback in my previous video, I will be doing another one on the topic of definitions. So what's sustainable, what's recycled, what's fair trade, all those buzzwords. Stay tuned for that one and subscribe to this channel. I will see you very soon again in a new video. And until then, take care. Bye.